Den of terrorists broken in Kogi. Acting President Oshibajo inspects Murtala Mohammed Airport. Acting President receives briefs on African High Command. Plus, Ken Namani Electoral Reform Committee lines up public hearing with voters. A very good evening to you and thanks for joining us on NTA News tonight. I am Isaac Nkuma. A joint security operation in Kogi State has led to the arrest of 17 suspected criminals, including Boko Haram members, kidnappers and armed robbers who have been terrorizing the state. Commander, Command Army Records, Chari Megomeri Lokoja, Brigadier General Henry Ayamasawe paraded the suspects before the state governor Alhaji Yahya Bello. Solomon Ayede has the report.
14-man armed gang are among the suspected criminals that have been terrorizing travelers along Lokoja Okene, Lokoja Obajana, Osokosoko Kaba roads, and those who recently attacked Eika police post in Okehi local government area.
We have been aware for some time that there are sleeper cells of the terrorist group in the states, and we are determined to signal to them and to let them know for sure that there is no safe haven for them.
One of the suspects, who gave his name as Abdulaziz Isa, confessed to have engaged in 3 kidnap operations, while a traditional ruler provided them support. Governor Yahya Bello commended the security agencies on the breakthrough, stressing that there are a lot more to be done.
Those houses and buildings where these criminals are captured or the weapons are recovered from, we shall demolish them very, very soon.
In Lokoja, Solomon Ayedehi, NTA News.
Meanwhile, sustained collaboration among security agencies, political actors and communities in the Northeast is required to deal with the post-insurgency challenge in the region. A Minister of Defense, Mansurdan Ali, said this in a message to a civil society organization roundtable conference on Operation Lafia Dole. A defense correspondent, Ismail Musa, has details.
The forum is aimed at appraising the efforts of the military and suggests contributions from civil society organizations in the post-insurgency challenge in the Northeast.
It gladdens my heart to see the youth usefully engaged towards the cause of this nation in making sure that Nigeria remains one.
Conveners of the event stressed the urgent need for the radicalization of youths, resettlement of displaced persons, and reconstruction of the region.
The government must also come out with policies that would discourage obnoxious religious preachings, that encourage or that create fertile ground for insurgency.
Similarly, the meeting of chiefs of defense staff and heads of intelligence agencies of member nations of the Lake Chad Basin Commission submitted that sustained intelligence network is required to effectively root out Boko Haram members.
It is obvious that the range of threat confronting the region is so multifaceted that the solution to them require a multidimensional approach by various member states.
The platform is expected to adopt recommendations from the experts forum. Ismail Musa, NTA News.
In the meantime, to consolidate the gains of counter-terrorism operations in Nigeria, guests on Good Morning Nigeria say good governance, human and environmental security, as well as reintegration of joint task force are key elements to pay attention to. Gufan Shaji tells us more.
Guests on Good Morning Nigeria say to consolidate the gains of counter-terrorism, it is imperative to take the campaign to the local government as well as check the crime rates at every level, especially the issue of kidnapping.
We have to address the issue of herdsmen moving to displace sedentary farmers.
Good governance is what will stop this rollback, where we can see justice, we can see equity.
Reintegration of civilian joint task force and the deployment of forest guards were also factors x-rayed to sustain the gains of counter-terrorism.
I mean, like the Sabisa forest, there's supposed to be forest guards, for instance, that are supposed to be manning those areas and then reporting back to the military, I mean, or to the system. So
in Abuja, Gufan Shaji, NTA News.
Still on security, Kaduna State Police Command says they have intensified efforts to secure the release of the 2 Germans kidnapped at Kagarko local council area of the state. Austin Ayebe, who spoke with the police commissioner, reports.
The names of the abductees given by the police are Professor Peter Brunin and Johannes Bringer. Professor Peter is the leader of a 4-man team from the University of Frankfurt, Germany, working in collaboration with the National Commission for Museums and Monuments on the relics of Noh culture in Nigeria. The archaeologists were abducted from the excavation site at Jajala, a village in Kagorok local government area in Kaduna State. The Kaduna State Commissioner of Police, Agiole Abi, who is out with his men in the area of abduction, said in a telephone interview with NTA News that the abductors have open communication with the family of the victims, while police operatives under the anti-kidnapping and cattle rustling squads are covering the area to rescue the victims. He said the police will keep details of the operation and all the communication between the abductors and their families to their chest, assuring of their safety. Kagorok local government area is in the southern part of Kaduna State, not too far from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Kidnapping of high-profile people in Kaduna State was brought under control by the Special Anti-Kidnapping Squad before the latest incident. In Kaduna, Austin Anyebe, NTA News.
And still on the abducted Germans, Inspector General of Police Ibrahim Idris has deployed a special squad comprising 7 units with a surveillance helicopter on a rescue mission. First Public Relations Officer CSP Moshood Jimo, who stated this in Abuja, says the team is headed by the Deputy Inspector General of Police in charge of operations.
To search and rescue the 2 Germans on hot and arrest the perpetrators. The Nigerian police force, while assuring all Nigerians and foreign nationals in the country of their safety, the force wishes to implore them to always request and obtain police escort to protect them anytime they are embarking on recharge, mining, and related endeavors outside the towns and city.
Edino Justice reports that the police also paraded 4 persons suspected to be involved in illegal refining and transportation of petroleum products. And away from security matters, the federal government is determined to rehabilitate facilities at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo said this during an inspection tour of the airport. He said the present administration is doing a lot towards creating an enabling environment for business to thrive in the country.
There's a lot to be done, a lot of maintenance. We've just looked at some of the facilities, we've been doing a lot of work on ease of doing business.
Sorry for the abrupt end of that soundbite on the report. And plans for the closure of the Abuja airport and relocation to Kaduna are gearing up, with various agencies crossing the T's and dotting the I's. On its part, the Health Ministry is scaling up services to effectively tackle emergencies that may arise on the use of Kaduna-Abuja Expressway. Mujanatu Adam Said reports. We'll bring you that report in the course of this bulletin. Moving on now, Acting President Yemi Osinbajo says the Buhari administration is committed to working with the United States in addressing human rights concerns and security challenges in the country. Professor Osinbajo stated this while receiving the commander of the U.S. African Command at the presidential villa. He said it is high time Nigeria and the United States deepened their long-standing relationship. The head of the U.S. Africa Command, General Thomas Waldhauser, expressed readiness of the U.S. government to accelerate its contributions to the development of Nigeria. He added that his visit to Nigeria at this time is to further strengthen the common friendship. The Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative has distributed food worth millions of naira to internally displaced persons in Gombe State with assurance for more assistance. Musa Abubakar has details. It seems we're having some hiccups at the other end, but we're moving on with the news. A chairman of the Constitution and Electoral Reform Committee, Senator Ken Nnamani, says the committee is set to hold public hearings in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. He made this known while explaining the committee's activities so far. Salihu Abdullahi reports.
From what we have seen, we have the capacity which we can rapidly develop or feed in ourselves. If we don't import rice, we stop importing corn and other grains, Nigeria will have plenty of money to invest into developing industries, especially manufacturing, textiles and so on, and develop iron and steel, and complement the infrastructure development. So really, the opportunities are virtually limitless, and we are very, very aware of this, and we are prepared to exploit it to the fullest.
Hello? Welcome to the M6 Challenge. Using your new Gioni M6, carry out everything on that list, starting now. Get to the door. Congratulations, you have passed the test.
Gioni M6 with a 5,000 milliampere battery that lets you go on for 2 days on a single charge. Gioni M6, always in power.
To the outer framers, the hat tippers, the turtleneckers, the fringe goers, you don't need to hide anymore. Try Dettol Even Tone. It cleans and helps to reduce the appearance of blemishes caused by oil, dirt and germs, giving your skin a healthy feel for an even better you. Dettol, be 100% sure.
The federal government's social investment program has begun. The poorest and most vulnerable in the land get 5,000 naira monthly, and phase 1 has started in 9 states of the federation. 200,000 unemployed graduates have been engaged in the N-Power Volunteer Corps, designed to engage 500,000 people. 5.5 million children will be fed regularly in the homegrown school feeding program, which kicked off in 3 states last year, with 9 more to be added this year. And under the Government Enterprise and Empowerment Program, GEEP, thousands of cooperatives, market women, farmers and enterprising youth have been receiving between 10,000 and 100,000 naira soft loans since November 2016. The Social Investment Program has begun. It can only get better. We promise change. Change is here.
The Future Assured project and its components, Get Involved, initiated by the wife of the President, Her Excellency Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, is not relenting in championing the cause of Nigerian women and children. Its provision of free medical screening, educational support, and the fight against malnutrition, especially in the Northeast, has indeed informed international recognition, partnerships and awards.
We are very grateful and appreciative for your wonderful gesture you have accorded to us.
With Future Assured, Nigerian women and children are assured of a bright future.
Future is assured when we join hands to promote the health of our women and children. Get involved.
Get involved and support the Future Assured initiative. Future Assured, promoting and protecting the lives of Nigerian women and children.
Following the approval of the whistleblowers policy by the Federal Executive Council and its launch by the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, patriotic Nigerians have been making inquiries on how and where they could deliver information that could lead to the stopping or uncovering of fraud to the appropriate authority and answers to frequently asked questions. The Federal Ministry of Finance has therefore dedicated a telephone line for receiving SMS, a whistleblowers portal, and an email address through which members of the public who volunteer to disclose information about a possible misconduct or violation could deliver such information for the attention of the team dedicated to process such information.
Thanks for staying with us. We now go back to some of the reports that we enroll in the first instance. The Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative has distributed food worth millions of naira to internally displaced persons in Gombe State with assurance for more assistance. Musa Abubakar has details.
Food items were distributed to 1,400 internally displaced persons living in Gombe State. The leader of the delegation, Professor Sunday Ochochi, stated that the intervention is aimed at providing succor for IDPs, saying that the gesture is just the beginning.
It is small, but targeted to bring relief to those who have endured a lot of hardship, and it is going to continue. We are targeting a total of 1,400 households.
Executive Secretary, Gombe State Emergency Management Agency, Dr. Alami Arab Srukuje, and representative of IDPs expressed gratitude to the federal government for the gesture, saying it will go a long way in alleviating their sufferings. In Gombe, I am Musa Abubakar, NTA News.
And chairman of the Constitution and Electoral Reform Committee, Senator Ken Namani, says the committee is set to hold public hearings in the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. He made this known while explaining the committee's activities so far. Salihu Abdullahi reports.
Consequent upon a conviction that the country's electoral system requires some touch to enable it to remain a strong organ in a democratic setting like Nigeria, the Buhari administration in October 2016 constituted a 25-member Electoral Reform Committee expected to review the electoral system, make recommendations with an executive bill on how to improve and sustain standards in the electoral process.
You need to solicit the opinion of other stakeholders. Most Nigerians, all Nigerians of voting age.
In addition, he said, the committee will build on previous recommendations to addressing pre- and post-election matters to make it possible for people to win elections at the polling unit and not in the courts.
So a lot is quite involved. You know, we Nigerians, we specialize mostly in criticisms.
The committee is expected to submit its final report in March this year. In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi, NTA News.
And while that is yet to commence, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has fixed November 18, 2017 as the date to conduct Anambra State governorship election. Political correspondent Abdullahi Garba Benunkudu reports.
Briefing journalists after the Commission's meeting, the INEC National Commissioner in charge of voter education, information and publicity, Mr. Adedeji Shoyevi, said campaign for Anambra election will begin August 18th, while primary election will end by September 2nd. Meanwhile, the Commission has confirmed the indictment of 28 INEC staff for misconduct, out of which 25 will face prosecution for criminal offences during Rivers rerun election.
From the report, the police have concluded their investigations, and 25 of the Commission's staff who were indicted will be prosecuted. We have 3 more which are not even within the police report that will undergo administrative panel, at least for discipline.
It will be recalled that a police investigative panel was set up to investigate those involved in the misconduct during the Rivers rerun election, while INEC set up an administrative investigative panel. In Abuja, Abdullahi Garba Benunkudu, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has emphasized federal government's commitment to ensuring that due process and diligence are adhered to in all sectors of the economy. He stated this at the public hearing of the House Committee on Public Procurement. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adeguloye reports.
Issues the committee are focusing on are adherence and compliance with the provisions of the Public Procurement Act of 2007 and sources of funding. And although the ministry is not per se a revenue-generating ministry, Lai Mohammed says approximately 58 million naira has been raised through tenders fees and sales of tenders journals. As regards documentation of procurement processes, copies of advertisements in 2 national dailies were produced, as well as tenders. Chairman of the committee, Oluwole Oke, however, quoting Section 5 of the Public Procurement Act, that it is compulsory at the end of each financial year there should be a post-procurement audit by the Bureau of Public Procurement. And in the case of the ministry, which has not been audited in the last few years, this should be backdated to 2011, 3 years before the present dispensation.
You have procurement activities that are within your threshold. You have those procurement activities that are above your threshold. And those ones are usually evaluated by BPP before you take same to the Federal Executive Council for award.
Governance, like they say, is a continuum. We are here being asked to account for what happened in 2011 when none of us was there. But I think that is actually the essence of governance. That's the essence of ensuring that due process, due diligence is conducted in whatever we do.
The Federal Civil Service Commission also appeared before the committee on the same matter. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adegunloye, NTA News.
And the Senate Committee on the Federal Capital Territory is to fashion out a framework within which maintenance and beautification of the capital city will be handed over to banks and other philanthropic organizations. Chairman of the Senate Committee, Dino Melaye, stated this while unfolding the new plan of action to Senate Press Corps on Thursday. National Assembly correspondent Waziri Zayano reports.
In line with their corporate social responsibility mandate, about 15 banks have already accepted to beautify roundabouts and provide street light on some major areas in Abuja. Senator Dino Melaye noted with dismay that colossal amounts being spent on rehabilitation and maintenance of the FCT over time has not been justified.
We will forthwith immediately suspend all contracts. Immediately we take off that is ongoing with contractors for the maintenance of the city because we have not seen any results.
Senator Dino Melaye said in line with the new dispensation, marching orders have been given to security agencies to rid the streets of destitutes and hawkers, while dumping of refuse and commercial motorcycle operations remain banned. Meanwhile, as the budget defense by MDAs continues, the Ministry of Justice has reiterated determination to ensure that objectives of the present administration in the justice sector have been achieved within budgetary allocations. Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice Abubakar Malami stated this while defending 2017 budget before the Senate Committee on Judiciary.
There was no capital budget appropriation for the Federal Ministry of Justice in the year 2016 budget.
Chairman Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters David Umaru urged the ministry to remain committed to the promotion and defense of constitutional values and principles in the governance of the country. Over 689 million naira was allocated to the Justice Ministry for the 2017 capital projects. From the National Assembly, Wazir Zayano, NTA News.
And the Budget Office of the Federation says its doors are open to all users of budget information to allay misconceptions about the document. Director General of the Budget Office, Ben Akabweze, expressed commitment to continuous improvement of the budgetary system for optimal national development. Details with Leah Katun Babatunde.
2017 budget, which is currently before the National Assembly, has had its share of debates with many grey areas in need of clarification. The Budget Office therefore stood up to challenge and kept to its pledge to open up the federal government's budget process to public scrutiny and participation by inviting the media and civil societies to clarify areas of public contention. The controversial gatehouse for the Vice President, State House Clinic, and a host of other allegations of parting were dispelled by Ben Akabweze.
It is important to note that there are over 800 MDAs, which must make provision for expenses related to the budget exercise.
Responding to torrents of questions fielded by those in attendance, the DG Budget Office elaborated on items with contradictory rates by MDAs.
The truth again is that for years now, government has not been able any year to fully fund even the overhead provision of the budget.
Akabueze called for constructive engagement to make the process better. In Abuja, Lekatung Babatunde, NTA News.
And away from budget matters, Speaker, House of Representatives has advised leaders at all levels to put the interest of their subjects above any personal interest so as to win their confidence. He gave the advice when he received the plaque awarded to him by the Sun newspaper as its political icon of the year. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Onko reports.
Chief Whip of the House of Representatives, Al-Hassan Adodogua, who represented the Speaker at the ceremony in Lagos, handed over the award to Speaker Yakubu Dogara. Dogara observed that leadership qualities should be seen to reflect on the led.
If God brings us together, it can only be for a purpose. And then if we draw from each other's strengths, only God knows what will be the limit. The skies will not even be the limit.
As the 2017 budget scrutiny continues at the National Assembly, the Public Accounts Committee of the House has described the 2.7 billion naira allocated to the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation as very poor. Auditor General of the Federation, Anthony Ayine, explained that out of the 1.1 billion naira proposed as capital expenditure, 90.5 million was approved by the Budget Office. Some legislators also advocated including Auditor General's budget on first-line charge. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
A Nasarawa State chapter of the Jamaatul Nasrul Islam has joined other religious bodies across the country in praying for the quick recovery of President Muhammadu Buhari. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that the prayer session featured high-powered religious clerics from the Islamic faith.
The prayer session was conducted and led by the Chief Imam of Lafia, Sheikh Dalatu Dahiru, and other notable Islamic clerics at the Lafia Central Eid Ground, which was filled to capacity by worshippers across the state. The Islamic clerics explained that the present health problem President Muhammadu Buhari is passing through was a test of faith and advised Nigerians to know that no man is above Allah's will. He warned Nigerians to desist from making uncharitable remarks about the president's health. The session climaxed with supplication for the stability of the nation's democracy and prosperity of the country. In Lafia, I am Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Nigerians have again been assured that God will continue to intervene and deliver the nation from recession, insecurity and other social vices and restore needed peace. Primate of Nigerian Anglican Communion, Most Reverend Nicholas Oko, stated this at the 2017 Standing Committee meeting of the church. Anthony Gandono reports that Governor Bikunle Amusun was present.
2017 Standing Committee meeting of the Church of Nigerian Anglican Communion with the theme I Am That I Am and tagged Egba 2017 according to the primate of the church, the Most Reverend Nicholas Oko, was to reflect on the current realities of the country, discuss its roots and suggest solutions.
Government wants us to live in peace. They are the people controlling violence. They have all the weapons, they have all the money, they have everything. They should control these people.
There are goodwill messages. The Alake and paramount ruler of Egbaland, Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo, and the former head of National Interim Government, Chief Ernest Shonekan, noted that the meeting came at a time when the country was facing rigorous economic backlash. They enjoined Nigerians to continuously pray for relative peace and quick turnaround of the nation's fortune. The Governor Amosun appealed to those fomenting troubles in any part of the country in the name of religion to shield their swords. In Abeokuta, Anthony Gandono, NTA News.
Minister of Environment Amina Mohammed has stressed government's commitment to address reports of toxic and carcinogenic waste dumped in Koko, Warri North local government area of Delta State. The Shekiri Environmental and Human Rights Group had written the ministry to alert the nation of the criminal dumping of toxic and carcinogenic waste in the area nearly 30 years after a similar occurrence. The communities are worried about the dangers of the waste as scientific analysis reveals that the environment around the site is highly toxic, hazardous to health and environmentally unfriendly. It also holds that the dumped toxic waste are being hurriedly buried without the required treatment. In the meantime, The Environment Minister had at the Federal Executive Council meeting of Wednesday promised government's intervention, adding that a team has been sent to the area to address the matter.
So no more waste is dumped there. The second thing is to find out who has contributed to that so that we can take the necessary actions. But we do have to look at, why that happened in the first place and how, toxic waste from that area got into water and look at it. The regulatory agencies are down there as we speak, so we will get a report back.
Amidst anxiety over delay in the sale of JAMB forms for the 2017 UTME, JAMB Registrar Professor Isiaq Olede says the board will commence sale of forms very soon, while the examinations will hold in May. He stated this at a chat with journalists in Abuja. Franca Uzoma-Olwa reports.
Before now, the Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination conducted by JAMB usually takes place in March, but this is not the case this year as the board is re-strategizing in its mode of operations.
We are changing some things. For instance, those who are trying to hold scratch card, we are not going to use the scratch card. Those who are going to cyber cafe, we are not going to use the cyber cafes. We are going to use existing banks, and we are making sure that there will be no offline registration.
JAMB Registrar Professor Isiaq Olede says the board has so far arrested a good number of fraudsters who allegedly printed and sold fake scratch cards.
From almost all parts of the country, we have arrested people. We are prosecuting some are in courts, and between the last 3 months, we have secured about 5 convictions.
On the 2016 admissions, the registrar says universities have gone beyond 81% of their carrying capacity, but for student apathy for polytechnics and colleges of education. Franca Uzoma-Olwa, NTA News.
And still on education matters, the Muhammadu Buhari's administration has been commended for approving the Tertiary Trust Fund intervention budget, the highest ever to be distributed. Executive Secretary TETFund Abdullahi Bafa explained its priority during talks on collaboration with the Nigerian Television Authority. Charles Alamekia has details.
With quality education as bedrock of development for any nation, elected Executive Secretary of TETFund Abdullahi Bafa emphasized that the era where the culture of special intervention was abused in the past has been redefined given the current budget of change. He says theirs will be deployed to massive infrastructural and academic development of institutions through research.
I want to seize this opportunity of this courtesy visit to NTA to request you to please kindly use your outlet to express our sincere appreciation to the President and Commander-in-Chief for approving this very, very big and massive budget of change for the tertiary education institutions.
Director General of the NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, says the NTA is desirous of collaborating with TETFund to promote educational pursuits that will advance the country.
Look forward to a time that TETFund considers TV College as one of those areas that your tentacles, reach in terms of intervention. And having said that, we'd like to assure you that we in NTA, are always ready, to work with other federal government agencies and organizations, because we serve the same, essentially, set up to achieve the same set of objectives. That is the advancement of the cause of our country, Nigeria.
TETFund was established as an interventionist agency for rebuilding facilities and infrastructure in public tertiary institutions. Chiazalam Ekiye, NTA News.
The reformatory aspect of the Nigerian prison service is as important as the post-jail life of prison inmates. This is the situation at the Ilesha prison in Osun State, where a viable cottage industry impacts positively on prison inmates and academic activities. Tunji Adepoju beams the searchlight on the 22-year-old prison cottage industry.
Life behind the prison walls is not all about punishment or confinement. The prison also has a role of reformation or making inmates better after their prison term.
Inside here are training facilities for inmates. Inmates from this place are well established and ready to go on with life after prison.
The prison cottage industry in Ilesha was inaugurated in November 1995. There are facilities for various trades such as carpentry, furniture, upholstery, shoemaking, sculpture, artwork, tailoring, as well as electrical works. To date, the cottage industry has trained several inmates in these aforementioned skills and get them certificated. The general manager of the Ilesha cottage industry comments.
Some of these inmates too, they learn vocational trades, which can make them self-reliant on discharge. And after, maybe while they are learning their trade here, before they are discharged, we also collaborate with the Federal Ministry of Labour and Productivity, where we conduct a trade test examination for them, so that when they discharge from here, they shall have that legal backing.
Immediately I leave here, I will go and the work when I learn from here, I will start to experience in outside.
The industry not only trains and empowers prison inmates, but handles quality projects for governments and interested individuals. From Ilesha, Tunji Adepoju, NTA News.
And over now to our Lagos studios with Jennifer as our guide. Hello, Jennifer. You're on. Jennifer, you're on.
Thank you, Isaac. Good evening and a warm welcome to Lagos. The much-expected trial of a senior advocate of Nigeria, Dele Belgore, could not go on today at the Federal High Court, Lagos, due to absence of the lead prosecutor and EFCC counsel, Rotimi Oyedepo. Viola Chimoba reports that Justice Aikawa adjourns the matter to 13th of March for definite trial.
The senior advocate of Nigeria, Dele Belgore, is charged alongside former Minister of National Planning, Professor Abubakar Suleiman. Both were arraigned by the EFCC over alleged money laundering to the tune of 500 million naira. EFCC had alleged that Belgore and the former minister conspired to commit the offense on the 27th of March 2015. The commission also accused the defendants of making two separate cash payments of 450 million and 50 million naira without going through a financial institution. The anti-graft agency further put up a claim that the defendants paid the said sum to one Sheriff Shagaya. EFCC had argued that the sums were above the threshold permitted by the Money Laundering Act. The defendants had pleaded not guilty and were granted bail on self-recognizance with an order that they should submit their international passports to the Deputy Chief Registrar of the court. At the resumed hearing today, a lawyer from the EFCC office, Anana, notified the court of Oyedepo's absence, adding that the vehicle bringing him to court broke down on the way. He also informed the court that the first prosecution witness coming from Ekiti State is still on the way. His prayer to the court to stand down the matter pending their arrival was turned down by Justice Aikawa. However, Belgore's counsel Ebu Shofunde also raised an objection to the request, arguing that the court cannot wait for a witness who is still on the way. Justice Aikawa adjourned the matter to the 13th of March. In Lagos, Vieira Chumuba, NTA News.
If you're just joining us, you're watching Nta Network News, reaching you live from the Lagos Network Center. We have more reports ahead after these messages. Stay tuned.
See? That's it? F. C. But she's academically so good. Could have been better. My grade, fitness F. Emotional well-being, E. E?
I want you to play with me until you get tired.
Mom, I want you and the baby to be healthy.
Promise. I'll eat healthy foods, okay? I love you.
We will always play together and we will be champions.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria, unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Tries to light the fires, he has done too. Emenike on a winging!
Africa's largest television network, the NTA, sets the agenda for Nigeria sports with a new program, The Sports Parliament, a weekly diet of conversation by experts on some of the most critical issues in Nigeria sport, examined through national and international lenses. Sports Parliament is an assembly of some of the best brains in sports, taking on issues as never before. Members of Parliament include Osasu Obayuwana, lawyer and journalist, Mumini Alawo, analyst, Godwin Dudu Orumen, lawyer and administrator, Nkechi Obi, marketer and analyst, Kunle Raji, consultant, Adetunji Adeyinka, private sector expert, Aniefyok Udo Obong, Olympic gold medalist, Shola Akinwale, former international player, Abdul Rahman Ibn Mohammed, journalist and sports commentator, Tanko Yunusa Abdullahi, journalist, Aki Amawo, medical consultant, the speaker, former international player, author, sports writer and consultant, Shegu Odewami, live from the NTA studios in Lagos every Thursday night from 11 o'clock. The Sports Parliament, taking the conversation on sports to a new level, coming soon to your screens.
Played out wide by Babatunde. Two in the middle. Oh, they've got an equaliser!
Glad you stayed. A Federal Ministry of Agriculture to investigate the reported circulation of imported gari from India to Nigeria. Here's Chiazala Mekie with this and closing figures on business news.
Good evening and a warm welcome to Business News. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Audu Ogbe says Nigeria has no reason to import any product made from cassava, considering the fact that Nigeria is the world's largest producer of the produce.
What are you importing gari into Nigeria for? There's a short supply, there isn't. Never has been. So just this nonsense about, and amazingly, this is the problem with the pressure on the Naira now. Everybody is looking for dollars on the streets to bring in the most ridiculous items.
Nigeria is currently the major exporter of cassava to China and India. Meanwhile, the managing director of the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, Uche Oji, has restated its readiness to invest in an infrastructure credit guarantee company to enhance borrowing for infrastructure development in Nigeria.
The operationalization of Infra Credit, which is a company that will give bond insurance, that will make it easy for pension funds to invest in bonds, and also for insurance companies to invest in infrastructure. So these are some of the things we're doing more and more of. We're also spending more time on social infrastructure.
And trading on the equities market closed today on a positive note. Here are the graphical illustration. That's the package at this time. I am Chiazalam Ekie. Network News continues. Please stay with us.
United Capital Asset Management Company PLC has launched Envo Bond and a Wealth for Women Fund aimed at enhancing investment opportunities for Nigerians. Abdullahi Suleiman Yajin reports.
In 2016, United Capital PLC posted 108% capital appreciation on stocks, making it a financial services powerhouse. It put together this maiden asset management investor forum in the Federal Capital Territory to introduce to the market attractive investment schemes that would enable retail investors acquire Eurobonds for as low as $1,000 and enjoy profitable returns. Another opportunity presented by United Capital PLC is the Wealth for Women Fund, designed to encourage listed companies have more women on their boards and management.
So instead of having your $1,000, $2,000, $10,000 sitting idle in your dorm account, you can put it in a fund like this and get an opportunity to share the kind of returns. For example, the coupon on the federal government one is 7.8%, and we're talking about in dollar terms, which are the highest returns you can get anywhere in the world. So it's opening a broader vista of investment opportunities to retail investors so that they can also, and helping to solve the challenges of the foreign exchange volatility we're experiencing.
It is clear that investment in these funds would have the benefit of capital appreciation as well as affording the investors a steady stream of income.
But real economic policy must encourage the growth of specific industries that will get the economy moving and move from what is called a consumption-driven economy to an investment-driven economy, where we will actually invest in the infrastructure that will enable the rest of our economy to grow.
Interactions touched on ways that United Capital PLC can help companies raise money through project finance syndications. In Abuja, Abdullahi Suleiman Iyaji, NTA News.
The Oil and Gas Free Zone Authority is set to break new grounds with plans to license another oil and gas free zone in Delta State. Managing Director of the authority, Umana Okon Umana, said this after inspecting the fiscal development of the proposed free trade hub and readiness of its promoters, Awarise Nigeria Limited. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The proposed free zone located in Okitigbo in Warri North of Delta State is situated on 87.044 hectares of land with a plan to expand by another 80.00 hectares. When actualized, the proposed oil and gas free zone is expected to attract more than $100 million in foreign direct investment. The managing director of the Oil and Gas Free Zone Authority, Umana Okon Umana, says the inspection is in compliance with requirements before recommendation to the president for grant to license and subsequent operation as an oil and gas free trade zone. While commending the promoters, Awarise Nigeria Limited, for their efforts, Umana Okon Umana notes that the proposed zone will be into both upstream and downstream activities.
I believe that they are ready, and we will be happy to forward the appropriate recommendations to Mr. President.
The project, which is a 100% Nigerian initiative, is expected to be integrated into the nearby cocoa port in the future.
We'll give you the checklist of the requirements, what you have to do, so that together we can drive this process very quickly to a logical conclusion.
Acting Managing Director of Awarise Nigeria Limited, Emmanuel Ebosa, disclosed that when completed, the free zone is expected to generate about 2,170 direct and indirect jobs. Facilities inspected include the jetty, a tank farm, a fabrication yard where a barge was under construction, a site for modular refinery, and a security infrastructure. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And the federal government has introduced a new bond into the Nigerian capital market. While urging investors at a conference in Lagos to take advantage of this opportunity, Acting President Yemi Osinbajo says the green bonds is a crucial achievement for Nigeria's determined battle against climate change. Jide Onifade reports.
The acting president noted that climate change remains a threat to lives and to the environment, citing the receding Lake Chad and happenings around it as examples of the consequences of climate change. Acting President Yemi Osinbajo explains that the green bonds is an opportunity for investing in Nigerian sustainable development.
We are looking at investment opportunities that usually have been ignored, especially low carbon infrastructure, solar powered infrastructure, and several other low carbon infrastructure. I think that this presents an opportunity. All the eligible projects for green bonds are essentially low carbon type projects, low carbon type infrastructure, which usually doesn't get funded, but now we have a great opportunity to do so.
Minister of Environment, Amina Mohammed, that of Power, Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, and the FCT Minister, Mohammed Bello, informed the local and foreign investors what opportunities abound in their ministries. The Green Bonds Capital Market and Investors Conference was organized by the Federal Ministry of the Environment, Finance, and the Debt Management Office. In Lagos, Jide Onifade, Nta News.
Meanwhile, acting President Yemi Osinbajo says the Buhari administration is committed to working with the United States in addressing human rights concerns and security challenges in the country. Professor Osinbajo stated this while receiving the commander of the U.S. African Command at the presidential villa. He said it is high time Nigeria and the United States deepened their standing relationship. The head of the U.S. African Command, General Thomas Walthauser, expressed readiness of the U.S. government to accelerate its contributions to the development of Nigeria. He added that his visit to Nigeria at this time is to further strengthen the common friendship. Up us again for more messages. Stay with us.
The production, distribution, and sale of counterfeit and fake drugs is a corrupt practice and a crime against humanity. This has informed several measures and strategies to combat fake drugs, including introduction of anti-counterfeiting cutting-edge technologies to detect fake drugs on the spot. These technologies are being deployed to all the states across the Federation, as well as the internally displaced people's camps. The President, Muhammadu Buhari, and his team are committed to this fight.
The federal government of Nigeria, in line with its anti-corruption agenda and posture, will fight a total war against fake drugs and other unwholesome regulated products in order to ensure that Nigerians remain healthy and well.
Lend your support and join NAFDAC to rid the country of fake drugs and unwholesome regulated products. NAFDAC, safeguarding the health of the nation.
You're still watching Nta Network News. Minister of State Foreign Affairs Khadija Bukar Abba Ibrahim says no Nigerian national has died in the renewed xenophobic uprising in South Africa. The minister said this at a briefing with the South African High Commissioner to Nigeria in Abuja. Gabriel Odu reports.
Unemployment, inequality and social deprivation are some of the factors some say account for the xenophobic attacks on foreign nationals by South Africans. But the Minister of Foreign Affairs says that does not justify the frequency of attacks.
The federal government of Nigeria strongly urges the South African government to take all necessary measures to protect the lives and property of foreigners living and working in South Africa. Furthermore, the federal government urges the South African government to bring perpetrators of these deplorable acts of violence to justice.
On what the South African government is doing to stop future occurrence, the High Commissioner explains.
We are not only going to focus on the police. We also need to look into ways of encouraging people-to-people interaction, exchange of visits, so that people can come to see how people in Nigeria live.
The xenophobic uprising has been condemned globally. In Abuja, Gabriel Udu, Nta News.
Syrian peace talks in Geneva resumes after breakdown 10 months ago as battle for Aleppo escalates. For more global tidbits, let's join Talatu Ezirike.
Reports of tough times for militants in the Congo as the military says it has killed at least 16 former members of a rebel group who have re-entered the eastern part of the country. Similarly, Iraqi forces have recaptured Mosul airport, a key location in the government's fight to drive ISIS militants from its second city. From Ecuador, the Electoral Commission has announced the presidential runoff elections for 2nd of April to elect a new president. And a research by Imperial College London shows that eating more fruits and vegetables could prevent nearly 8 million premature deaths yearly. That is on Global Tidbits. Talati Ezerike, NTA News.
And sports now, Nigerian National League and Nigeria Women Football League hold congresses in Abuja, set to begin the season in March as Juventus pick vital points in Portugal and the UEFA Champions League. Tamara Ebiwe tells us more on Sports Update.
32 teams are set to compete in the 2016-2017 season of the Nigerian National League, which commences March 17th with 14 teams in the Northern Conference, while the Southern Conference has 18 teams. The league, which held its annual congress in Abuja Thursday, says it has repositioned for a better season.
With 32 clubs spread all over Nigeria, it means that every part of Nigeria actually has a touch of NNL.
In a related development, following its annual General Congress midweek in Abuja, the 2016-2017 season of the Nigeria Women Football League finally kicks off March 25th, while the second division goes underway March 29th with an abridged format featuring two groups of 16 teams. Group A's opener will see Bayelsa Queens take on Ibom Angels, while Delta Queens and Confluence Queens meet in Group B's Cotton Razor.
The coming on board of the women football is not only a welcome development, but it is also a challenging development, complementing this adage that whatever men can do, women can do it, if not better.
In Europe, FC Porto were beaten 0-2 at home by Juventus in UEFA Champions League round of 16 first leg, while Sevilla beat Leicester City 2-1 in Spain. Meanwhile, Manchester United advanced in the Europa League after beating St. Etienne 1-0 to claim a 4-0 aggregate win. With sports updates, Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.
And where Friday's weather prospectus, Nell is next on the lineup.
Welcome to the weather forecast for Friday. Dusty weather is still very much anticipated over most parts of the country, with general visibilities of about 2 to 5 kilometers. Few cases of poorer visibility within 1,000 meters or less is also probable. Within the southern cities, we anticipate partly cloudy conditions. Later in the afternoon, we expect the same weather within the north, the central, and inland cities of the south, while the stretch of the coast have some prospects of thunderstorms. I leave you with temperature forecast. Thank you for staying tuned. I am Oluchukwu Anoku, saying bye for now.
And just before we go, a quick reminder that you can watch all our stories and much more when you log on to our website, www.nta.ng. And that does it on Network News Tonight. Thanks for watching. Good evening.